Calls are rising for conservative voices to be silenced. The latest is asking cable providers to censor conservative news outlets. NTD's Grace Coulter speaks with an expert in Marxist movements on some possible outcomes of such a tactic.
Trevor Loudon has been warning about communist infiltration in America for over a decade, and now he says the revolution is here. Loudon says we can see revolutionary tactics being used by the media, big tech, politicians, and corporations.
You know, Donald Trump Jr. said in last year, he said the 2020 election would be communism versus freedom. And a lot of people poo-pooed him. Don't you mean liberalism? You know, you're exaggerating. Well, now it's in our face. Now it's here. And millions of Americans are waking up to it.
Loudon is an expert in Marxist movements and their covert influence on mainstream politics. He believes that these different entities are coordinating together to try to defame and silence those supportive of President Trump. On Sunday, former executive Alex Stamo appeared on CNN and called for conservative media outlets to be censored by their cable providers.
And then we're going to have to figure out the OANN and Newsmax problem. You know, that these companies have freedom of speech, but I'm not sure we need Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, and such to be bringing them into tens of millions of homes.
He also said Facebook and YouTube need to turn down the capability of conservative influencers to reach large audiences, claiming they push radical views. Similar calls to action were made to Amazon, Apple, and Google before they kicked Parler off their services, saying that Parler was allowing violent speech on their platform.
This is an old communist tactic. It's called pressure from above, pressure from below. And this will be used as a justification for crackdowns. The people are demanding an end to this horrible rebelliousness. And the congressmen and senators and the leaders of these large corporations will reluctantly respond to the pressure. You know, well, it won't be very reluctant at all. It'll be very, very willing.
Loudon also says that the recent type of slander against Trump supporters is a marker of a revolution. He says the rhetoric by some public figures is especially frightening.
There are millions of Americans, almost all white, almost all Republicans, who somehow need to be deprogrammed.
Loudon says we've seen this type of talk and demonization of a group before in Rwanda, Soviet Russia, Cambodia, and China.
We saw it in China, in the Cultural Revolution, where anybody who supported the old regime was demonized and then often jailed or expelled or exiled or exterminated. The majority of Americans are now being demonized as something dangerous. Now, this is on a scale that we've never seen before.
Loudon says many Americans think that what happened in these communist countries could never happen in the U.S., but he says it could unless people take swift, nonviolent action. He says that the best solution is communities coming together and regaining political power locally. Reporting by Grace Coulter, NTD News.